Going hard at the government over the Trans Mountain Pipeline takeover and the Prime Minister's handling of the Trump tariffs ahead of the G7 summit starting tomorrow. Well, let's get the official opposition leaders' take on all manner of political stories. Andrew Scheer joins me in the studio. Nice to have you, Mr. Scheer, again.
Always great to be here.
Help me with this mission impossible. You're at the G7. You're the Prime Minister. You're trying to calm Donald Trump down. You're trying to get him to roll back these exemptions, give us exemptions on steel and aluminum tariffs. How do you make it happen? Or is he facing an uphill battle that can't be conquered?
Well, look, we've been very outspoken about our position on these tariffs. These are unacceptable. These are unfair, and we support the idea of putting some retaliatory measures on Canadian steel and aluminum. The Prime Minister last week said that he was going to take action. He was going to address this, and now we find out it's going to be a 30-day waiting period. So we've heard from steel producers. I met with them on Monday. Trucks are being called back to their factories here in Canada, but U.S. steel is still coming in without those Canadian tariffs being put on them. So we think that in order to support the industry here, that the government shouldn't have waited. They had a lot of time to see this coming. These tariffs were first raised months ago. The Prime Minister had gone on his tour across Canada saying he got an exemption. Now he doesn't. He should have taken that time to kind of prepare.
It just seems to me, though, Trump sometimes needs to get the pushback felt before he has to realize he has to back away, and giving him the extra 3-4 weeks might give him time to have pause and rethink his position.
Well, we understand the consultation period on the other items that were included in that list. The government is proposing tariffs on things beyond just steel and aluminum, a whole long list of manufactured products, some agricultural products. That makes sense to kind of wait and see and kind of raise that as a possible consequence. But we think on the steel and aluminum, today as we speak, Canadian steel exports are being slapped with this U.S. measure, and we think at the very least U.S. steel coming in during this time should be put on an even playing field. We shouldn't be giving them an advantage. But if we can go back a little bit, this was something that Conservatives raised back at the time of the budget. When Bill Morneau tabled his budget, there was nothing in there about a contingency plan, no money set aside for any kind of compensation package or anything that would be extra costs on the government to support workers or their families during a time of trade disruption. And it isn't a shock that we're having difficulty on trade with this U.S. administration. So we believe that the government should have seen some of this coming, or at least prepared for this as an eventuality.
I don't know. You think you're trying to predict the unpredictable in Mr. Trump, but never mind.
Well, some things may be unpredictable, but the fact that it would be unpredictable was predictable. And that's the point we were trying to make in the budget.
Okay. I hear where you're going. I got to talk about pot legislation that's coming at you tonight, potentially tonight on the floor, but certainly tomorrow and dealt with next week for sure. I'm still trying to figure out, can the Conservatives accept any kind of pot legalization bill if it's amended, or is it going to be a unilateral rejection no matter what they put in it?
Well, look, Conservatives in the House and Conservatives in the Senate don't have the ability to defeat legislation. Right. The government will get it passed. They have a majority in the Senate. There are a majority of Liberals and those appointed by Liberals, and a majority in the House, of course. We've made our position known. We are against the principle of legalization. Our party adopted the principle of decriminalization. That being said, we'll look at amendments for sure. If there are areas that that knowing that the bill is going to pass, that provide greater safeguard for children, if it deals with the age of the legal age of purchase, we believe that 18 is far too young. The medical community is virtually unanimous on the need to have a higher age. So those are some things that we could accept as we understand that eventually the bill will be adopted. So we'll deal with the amendments, and then again, Conservatives in the House will be voting against the principle of legalization once that's finally before us.
A quick thought on the Ontario election. You say Doug Ford's the guy that you'd support. Not surprising. He's a progressive Conservative. Why do you think he's the best choice, and would he be a good premier?
Well, look, I mean, when you look at the record of the Liberal government, Kathleen Wynne has run just a terrible government full of scandal and corruption. Some members of her inner team under investigation, one even going through criminal proceedings. When you look at the deficits and debt and the poor mismanagement, I think
investigations on the Conservative candidates as well. But
no, but I'm talking about like Kathleen Wynne's actual government officials, chiefs of staff and people involved, and under serious accusations have been leveled, and everything from gas plant contracts and being investigated to others. So I've lived in Ontario under the NDP. My mom was a nurse at the Children's Hospital here. We remember the Ray days where public servants had to take time, forced time off work unpaid. I then moved to Saskatchewan and I saw what the NDP can do for a province there. So I don't think there's any doubt that when you have a party that's going to adopt more free market principles, work to get back to balanced budgets, lower taxes, that's best for the people of Ontario.
All right, we did a poll. I was going to use it for your first-year anniversary as leader, and I just want to get your thoughts on it. Basically, we asked for our impressions of Andrew Scheer. 26% of people thought you were either doing a very good or a good job. 37% thought you were doing an average job, and then if you had the very poor of poor, it's about 21%. Is average okay?
Well, you know what? what I take from that is that there are very few people that have disagreed with the approach I'm taking. Now, in politics, you don't go into it to be universally liked. You go in to fight for positions that you believe in, and you understand that some people are going to disagree. But I've been in opposition before, and I've worked for parties in opposition. And I think when I look at where we are a year after the leadership race, united, very strong fundamentals, great candidates coming on board. I don't like to get too focused on polls, but we believe that there's a strong indication that we've been effective over the last few months. I believe that as an opposition leader, especially for the Conservative Party in our history, I've got one of the best positions that we've had in recent memory. So I'm very encouraged, and I think that the next year is going to show that our team and myself, we can really show Canadians that we're ready to govern, that we have people who are ready to step into cabinet roles and candidates willing to carry the banner for us.
You're already designing your cabinet. Way to go. I'm confident.
No, but when you look at our shadow ministers, we have people who have either held portfolios in the past or have demonstrated that they would be very capable of stepping in. And I think that's part of it. I think Canadians do look to see, okay, it's about the leader. It's also about who is going to manage tough portfolios during challenging times. But I think, I believe that we've had a great year. Everyone has come together. We're focused on issues that unite Conservatives and that show Canadians that we're going to be a competent government that's putting people before government, really addressing the needs that they face in their day-to-day lives.
Well, 498 days, not that we're counting, or 99 days. Andrew Scheer, thanks for coming. Appreciate it as always, and congratulations on average or above average.
Way more above average.
Way more above average. Thanks again.
Thanks very much.